Welcome back to the workbench. Today I'm taking a look at this, the Revell RMS Titanic Gift Set. Join me as I take a look inside the box and find out what's included. Hi, I'm Matt and you're watching Model Minutes. Before I start the video, a quick shout out to my patron. From as little as $1 a month you can get early access and exclusive content whilst also helping to support the channel. Thanks for your support. So, if you've been following my channel recently, you'll remember that I put up a post saying that this was sort of a commission build for me. A family member who is quite obsessed with the Titanic has requested that I build one of these kits for him. On the front of the box we get a nice big image of the Titanic sailing through the Atlantic Ocean, but with an ominous reminder of its fate. It indicates that there are two plastic kits included, one at 1:700 scale and one at 1200 scale. On the right hand side are images of the completed kits and also image of the included brush, 6 paints and the poly cement. The side of the box features information in different languages about the actual Titanic, as well as other safety warnings and information about the paints. So let's take a look inside. Upon opening the box I can see that there is a lot of wasted space. I feel like the box could have been considerably smaller than it actually was. Let's take a look at the included paints first. A good selection of paints are included, all being acrylic in nature. All the major colours are represented, including the black and red of the hull, yellow of the smokestack, white of the upper decks, and the sort of brown colour of the deck. A paintbrush, which doesn't appear to be of a particularly good quality, is included, but it is a number 2 of thickness. The cement included is one of the better kinds that you get from Revell and features the needle applicator. I used to think that these were fantastic before I started using the Tamiya extra thin cement, so I probably won't be using that, but I will definitely keep it for another time. Also included is a spool of string. This will be used for the rigging. Ultimately it's just black thread. I was expecting something a little bit better, but I suppose this is better than nothing. Placing the instructions side by side, I can compare what they're like. Ultimately, they feature the same front page, but with different pictures. The information on the front being identical. Again, turning over the page, you're presented with the very familiar safety and warning information. Both kits feature the standard paint information from Revell, and you'll probably remember that I'm not a big fan of the way that they do this. I'd much prefer that they annotated it by the paint numbers rather than annotating it again by a letter and then having to keep cross-referencing what it is that you're supposed to be painting. But what you can see here is that the larger scale model requires more paints. The smaller scale model requires less. Both sets of instructions feature sprue maps, which is quite handy if you ever forget where the part was that you needed. The instruction booklet for the smaller scale model is naturally shorter. There are less parts to assemble, and as a result less steps to follow. The larger scale model has got more steps, again due to the higher number of parts. But both instruction booklets feature good images, and in this instruction booklet it's quite clear where you're required to drill holes and place the rigging. Finally, the painting instructions seem to be reasonably clear, but again they are printed in black and white, which can make getting the correct colour in the right place a little bit difficult. The decals for both kits are to the same and usual standard that you can expect from Revell. The larger scale kit seems to only have slightly more decals. It's worth noting that the different flags and pennants are depicted in the decal sheets. The printing seems to be quite good, but you do tend to lose a little bit of the detail in the smaller scale sheet. Let's take a look at the parts for the large scale model. The parts are contained within successive plastic bags. I presume this is to help them from getting lost during transit. The details on this large-scale model seem to be quite good. The plating on the hull is well represented using recessed and raised moulding. A rather simple display base is included, and I was expecting it to be slightly larger. All of the parts seem to feature quite good moulded detail, and flash is kept to a minimum. I particularly like the representation of the planks on the deck. I think they're pretty well done. I'm not going to get this one out of the bag for fear of losing the small parts, but you can see that the propellers are well moulded and there's quite a lot of detail present. Ladders are also well represented, and you'll have to take great care removing them from the sprue so they don't get damaged. I particularly like the representation of the rudder. Now let's take a look at the smaller scale kit. The difference in scale and the number of parts is quite noticeable. As you can see, you get 4 sprues and 1 loose item, which is the hull of the ship. I quite like that the hull of the ship is moulded in black plastic, which will make it easier when it comes to painting. You might even choose not to paint this part if you so wish. Despite the small scale, the details on this are quite well represented, even down to the tiny propeller at the stern of the ship. The rest of the parts are well moulded as well, and no flash is present on these either. Again, representation of planks is present on the deck of the ship. A very small display base is included with this one, but it looks to me like it will be quite a good build. So in conclusion, what do we get? Well, we get 2 very nice looking plastic model kits of the RMS Titanic, a good selection of paints, a not so good brush, and a pretty good tube of polycement. The rigging could be a little bit better, and I might consider replacing it with something else. And 2 instruction booklets that, although feature the same information to start off with, do have clear and well-drawn pictures depicting the step-by-step construction of the kits. The only thing that I feel lets them down is the fact that they're not in colour, and also the painting instructions are not particularly my favourite. But it is something that I can overcome. So in conclusion, this looks like a great gift set for those Titanic fans amongst you, and if you'd like to see me build this kit on my channel, let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget that I'm also interested to hear any suggestions to videos or kits that you might like to see me feature, so feel free to post that too. All that's left to say is thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you all on the workbench again next time.